Okay, so today I'm going to talk about bootstrapping, which I think is a really fundamental part of this course, or at least financing a venture as a whole, whatever method that may be, whether you're going to go to an angel investor, get debt financing, whatever is the most appropriate form for you. I think bootstrapping is something that has been briefly talked about in other entrepreneurial courses that I've done in this degree, but it's been very much like, look at this slide, this is what bootstrapping is, and then you move on, you go to the next slide. I think it's been brushed over way too much. So I was excited in this particular course that we went over it in quite a bit of detail, and I think it's really important. So for me, I'm in the process of I have an idea. I've been meeting with a couple of different people about it. I think it could really grow into something, and for me, the biggest concern that I had was, well, how am I going to finance it? Because the way I had envisioned the idea in my head was it's going to be an app. I was quoted $250,000. And I thought, well, bootstrapping just isn't an option for me. I'm not going to be able to come up with that kind of sum. That's just too, ludicrous to be able to raise $250,000 by myself. So immediately I thought, right, okay, well, I'm going to have to partner with an investor. So I'm going to have to partner with somebody in tech who can build the app and, maybe alleviate the cost significantly. But I didn't really want to. I liked the idea of being, at least at the beginning, of being the sole owner of the business. So I was able to pursue avenues that I thought was most appropriate, opposed to somebody who was, going to navigate the way that the business was going to be directed. So for me, I thought the best way is to stay and be able to bootstrap it. So how am I able to, manipulate the business idea at the beginning so that I am able to bootstrap? And I thought, well, maybe the idea doesn't need to be an app right from the beginning. Maybe it can be a website, and then once it, has some traction, once it's a little bit of a proven concept, then I can pursue an app. And it's funny because at the time I didn't really realize how integral that decision might be. I just in my head thought well, this is going to save me a lot of money, and it's going to be able to leave me to be the sole owner at the beginning, at least. Not in a selfish way, not in a greedy way, but I just thought at the beginning I don't want somebody else coming in and changing the whole direction of it just because they might have more equity in the business than I. But then when I started looking into it more, I realized just how much value bootstrapping could have, more than I had originally thought. So I like the idea that bootstrapping, apart from the fact that it's in the future, if you're going to pursue investors and you're going to say to them, well, I'm not going to put any money in it. And then suppose there's that whole idea of well, if you're not willing to fund it, then why should I, from an investor's point of view? But other than that, it's also really integral, I think, that with bootstrapping comes complete direction. So apart from the fact that you're able to choose the way that you want your business to be, it's also you can choose the connections that you make with people. You can choose everything. Bootstrapping completely, you have complete independence and complete creativity in terms of your venture, which I love. So I thought for sure bootstrapping was an interesting concept that I learned. I wish it was spoken about more. I think there's been a massive emphasis on getting investors and how to, or not so much how to find investors, because I think that part of it's been lacking, but how, what kind of investors, whether you want a venture capitalist, whether you want an angel investor. I think that's been a big emphasis in this course. And bootstrapping, I really believe, has so much value. So if you're able to, whether that means, you have to adjust your business model in order for you to be able to bootstrap, because for me, if I was set on the app, and I thought, well, there's no way I'm not going to manipulate or adjust the business model, then of course bootstrapping wouldn't be an option for me. But I think at the beginning, when I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll get a business, maybe I'll change the business model so that it can be a website, I thought the immediate attraction would be, well, down the line, an investor might be willing to put some money into it if they can see that, it's a proven concept and the website's getting, some traction, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, I think it leads you as an entrepreneur. It allows you a lot more room, a lot more creativity to be able to align the business model with your values and what you think it should be. And I also think partnering with an investor, you may not necessarily have the option to pursue some sort of social aspect of it. It might be more, there might be, obviously it depends what kind of investor you have and their personality, what they value. But I like the idea that when you are bootstrapping it, when you're funding it, there's nobody else involved. you obviously then able to also to see, like, do I want this business to have a social mission? Do I want it to eradicate some sort of social issues, or positively contribute to the world in some way? So yeah, I think bootstrapping was a really interesting topic. It definitely got me thinking about the value of bootstrapping and why it would be good for my business in more ways than what I originally had thought. So, yeah, thank you.